So, what is going on, guys? I am BlackOpsAmazing. Welcome back to another zombies video on the channel, where today we are back with a Q&A answering your questions about and Easter eggs. So if you enjoyed today's video, as always, a like rating would be appreciated. Make sure you are subscribed to stay up to date with the latest computer. I'm trying to talk here. Subscribe if you want to. And here we go. So the first question of today from Harvey says, why is Brutus still there? I thought he was only there due to the mob characters. Okay, your question's a bit confusing. I know what you're trying to ask though. Basically, you're trying to ask me, why is Brutus in Blood of the Dead? He was only in Mob of the Dead because that takes place in Purgatory. So if Brutus is in Blood of the Dead, then does that mean we are in Purgatory as well? That's basically what you're trying to ask. And well, that does seem to be the case. If you take a look at the prison when our premise characters come here, you will notice that it is in its purgatory state. If we go back to the original Mob of the Dead intro, we can see this is the prison in reality. It looks normal, nothing is trashed. We have the prison guard Stanley Ferguson watching over the cells. This is Alcatraz in reality, how it would normally look. But then we see things quickly change. When our characters escape from their cells, they kill Stanley Ferguson, and then all of the prisoners begin to turn into zombies, and they are then in Purgatory. You will notice the prison changes around them. Suddenly there are now bodies hanging from the ceiling. There is fire everywhere, debris on the ground. The prison is trashed. So this was Alcatraz in Purgatory. This is how we see it in game. And we then come over to the Blood of the Dead trailer, and as soon as our characters enter the prison, you can Purgatory. Take a look at the Zombies comics. After Richtofen goes off to collect the blood vials from zombie Richtofen, and then eventually go to this cursed prison. I know the rules are different here, perhaps different enough. So Richtofen even says, and by the way, I'm on about this version of Richtofen, the other version of him that we see in the lab. He says he's back once more to this cursed prison, and he says the rules are different here, which makes it seem like, yes, he is at Alcatraz, but in Purgatory. That is why the rules are different. So it does seem like our premise characters are here on Alcatraz in Purgatory. We also know that our Mob of the Dead characters were here in Purgatory, so that begs the question then, well, why are they here in Purgatory? Surely to get here in that state in the first place, they would have had to have died, unless they can find another way of getting here without doing that. If they are here in Purgatory, then are we also going to see the Mob of the Dead crew, since they were also here on the island? And does that also mean we'll be able to, just like in the original Mob, turn into ghosts, I guess that's what you would call them, go into the afterlife and go through walls and stuff like that? I don't know, I'm super interested to see how Blood of the Dead's going to go down. But yes, the reason we see Brutus is because it seems like we are in Alcatraz in Purgatory, which is weird. How we got here without dying, I don't really know. The next question says, do you think that the Pentagon thief will be in Classified? Now this is a good question because we know that Classified takes place before 5. I mean, it has to. We've been told that Classified tells the story of how the zombies ended up in 5, and so that has to mean that it takes place before 5. However, we know that the Pentagon thief arrived in 5 literally a day before we play. We play that map on November the 6th of 1963. That is when JFK, Nixon, McNamara and Fidel Castro fight off against the zombies in the Pentagon. The Pentagon thief arrived there literally a day before, meaning if he is in Classified, we have to be playing that map a day before 5. We don't exactly know when Classified takes place. It could be a day before 5. It could be a month before, a year before. We don't know. However, sometime before that map, Richtofen, Takeo, Nikolai and Dempsey apparently went to the Pentagon. Why, what for, we don't know, but we are playing as those characters in the Pentagon, and if the Pentagon thief is going to be the boss, then Classified has to take place no longer than a day before. And we also know that 5 and Ascension take place at the same time on the same date, which means that if that's the case, less than 24 hours later they would have had to have travelled to Ascension. So I think there's like a 50-50 chance that the Pentagon thief is the boss. Since we don't know when this map is going to take place, we don't have a date, I think there's a 50-50 chance that we are going to be seeing him in this map. I think it'd be weird if we didn't, but if we don't, then who exactly is going to... I can't imagine 5 without a zombies boss. But if we do have a new boss in Classified, then it's not really going to make sense because, well, why don't we see this same boss in 5? The map literally takes place a day later, so what reason would we have for seeing him in 5 unless our characters killed him in Classified if there's only one of him. It's really hard, which makes me think that we have to see the Pentagon Thief in there, because I can't really see it working out for any other boss being in that map. And also, I don't really know what exactly it would be. Maybe it's the pig in there. Does he become zombified? Would we have, I don't know, zombie pigs instead of the hellhounds? Hell pigs, maybe? That's stupid, Eli. Shut up. Liam Gregg says, what was the first Easter egg in Zombies? So obviously our first ever Zombies map was Nakdir and Totem, which I guess you could say that map itself was an Easter egg. It was a little Easter egg that you could unlock at the end of the World at War campaign. You complete that and you get this little game mode that was just for fun. Although obviously I'm not going to say that was the first Easter egg. However, there was in fact an Easter egg, the first Easter egg, and this was in Nakdir and Totem. It was a simple one, nothing like anything we have today with, you know, these complicated ciphers or things that take us days, sometimes weeks to discover. This was just a musical Easter egg that you could find in Nact, and this was the very first one we ever had in Zombies. Since there's only, I believe, 3 rooms on Nakdir and Totem, then it's really not difficult to find. It's the radio in the help room next to the mystery box, and if you knife it or shoot it, it's going to play music. Now, although you can get this Easter egg on Black Ops and BO3 for World at War in the original version as the first Easter egg, it would play various songs from, I believe, the campaign. These were the Red Army theme and a few other ones I'm not even going to try and pronounce. It would play a song, and then if you wanted to change it, you just knifed it again or shot it, and it would change to the next song. And it was actually really quite cool. For our first Easter egg, I'm actually surprised we even had an Easter egg in Nakdir and Totem, since it was just a fun mess about game mode. The fact that they even put an Easter egg in there, for me, is quite surprising. So this was the first one. I'm going to let you listen to a few songs. I'm going to play it. So here we go. So there we go. They're not really like the Easter egg songs that we have in today's maps. It was the first Easter egg in Zombies, so it's bound to be simple, and that's exactly what it was. But some of those songs really are very, I guess you could call them scary. They make it feel like more of a horror map, and because it was World at War, the maps did feel a lot more scary. It had more of a darker tone to it, and this music, in my opinion, especially helped Nact to feel more like a horror map compared to the ones that we have today. And I do kind of hope that we go back to this style of scary-ish maps one day, although I think they kind of tried to do that with some of the ones in BO3. It's just the gritty feel it had and the World War II. Hopefully you have enjoyed. If you have, you know what to do. Drop a like rating. Make sure you guys are subscribed to stay up to date with the latest content on the channel, and as always, I will say goodbye.